Hi there, Phil Simborg for the USBGF with a very common situation and problem. You're red. You have a 6-1 to play here. What's your play? You obviously have some options. You can play off the 13 and leave an ace shot by going to the 6, or you can come off of the 8 point with the 6 and either leave a 3 shot or a 2 shot. So, those are the only 3 reasonable options. You could pause the recording if you like and give it some thought, decide what you would do, and then let's talk about it. Okay, after I look at all the options, the best approach that I can see is to first rule out any that you think are not logical. And if you're going to break this point, why would you leave 12 shots, all 3s plus a 2-1, when you could leave only 11 shots? Plus, this is easier to link up with here. So clearly you would rule out the play of leaving a checker on the 8. So it's either a matter of moving a checker to the 7 and breaking this point, or breaking this point and moving in to the 6 point. And the answer here is it's right to break the 8 point and not break the 13 point. First of all, let me show you that it's right. You can pretty much assume that you're probably going to lose if either one gets hit. So you'd rather not get hit, and this is fewer shots. Now this is somewhat of a pay now, pay later situation, because you're also going to have more trouble clearing this point later. And it is true that if you can get away with clearing this now, you have a better chance of not leaving a shot later. But there's a major situation here that you have to look at, and that's the timing and the playability of the position. If you wait, if you don't get hit, you have to assume you're not going to get hit and ask yourself what happens. Let's click on Final and see what this looks like. If you don't get hit, because you have these spares on the 6 point, this is a very critical aspect of this position. Because you have these spares on the 6 point, you have more time to wait out blue. And you may not have to leave a direct shot from here, because blue's got to move his checkers. He's either got to dump checkers low into his board, which gives him a worse board if you do get hit, or he's got to break this point, or possibly this point, depending on what the rolls are. And it's a lot more dangerous for him to break this point because you have some pointing and pick and pass numbers, and it's harder for him to break this point. So the most common scenario is he ends up leaving this point in order to maintain this point in his board, in which case there's a good chance that if you do leave a shot from here, it's going to be an 8 shot, and there's only 6 ways to roll an 8, and that's a number you should know, by the way. The 6 ways to roll an 8 are 6-2, 2-6, 5-3, 3-5, 2-2, and 4-4. So you should know how many shots there are and know all of those by heart. I memorize a count method shot table: 11, 12, 14, 15, 15, 17, 6, 6, 5, 3, 2, 3. That's how many ways there is to hit checker: 1 away, 2 away, 3 away, and so on. But because these checkers are here, one reason you have more time is if you don't get hit, you got a 6 to play from here, or a 5 that can play from here, and you've got 2 more 5s to play from here before you're forced to move off of here. So the stack on the 6 point is a very critical part of this position. And when you have a hypothesis like that, it's very good to try to prove it. And here's how I try to prove it. Let me hit Control C, so I'm saving this position. One way to prove it is to take those 2 checkers off of here, and you'll see that the play changes. Now, because you don't have 5s to play from here, and you only have this one high spare to play 5s and 6s with. By the way, you can play 5s from here, but they're not very good 5s. They open up, and 5-1 might cause you a blot later on. And by the way, 5-3 and all kinds of other numbers get awkward when you don't have 5s to play. But if you move these checkers off of the 6 point, you're going to see it's right to play off the 13. So those spares made a huge difference. So let's put one of the spares back. Now you're going to see it's very, very close. It's much closer. The one spare is enough to make you play from here. So going back to the original position, the 2 spares makes it very, very clear to hold this, because maybe you won't have to leave the more shots. Now again, this is 12 shots. If you leave this, how many shots are there? You've got 11 ones, plus you've got the 6 8s, so you have 17 shots. So that's why it's more preferable right now to leave fewer shots. There's another thing to look at that would make you want to leave the shot here instead of here. Right now his board is great. If you get hit, you're in big trouble, and the board is going to stay strong, because unless he's a bad player, he's going to break this point or roll small numbers. But if he had a blot in his inner board, this board is only going to get better later. So now you've got a major incentive to take a bigger chance now and come off of this point. There it is. That shifts the play. Again, make this point, and you're giving him fewer shots, and you're going to pay now and leave the greater shots to clear, because if you get hit, there's a good chance that you'll hit him back or have this point to come in on. There are fewer numbers that are going to hit and cover, because he needs 1s and 2s to cover, and you're giving him 1s and 8s to hit. So as you add up the number of hits and covers, there aren't that many. And this extra place to come in, not only can you hit him with 5s, you can hit him with a 1-4 and a 2-3. So you got a lot more life after death in this position. Take the bigger chance now. This board is going to improve. He's very likely, if you make the other play, even if he doesn't hit you, by the time you do have to leave a shot from here, the board will be better. So the strength of his board, the timing of the overall game, and where your spares are. Now, one thing I learned from this lesson, in addition, is earlier in the game, I learned how important it is to keep spares here and to put spares here. How that gives you flexibility when your opponent's holding your 5 point. Having more spares here gives you more numbers to play before you're forced to leave that shot or break. Hope this was a good lesson for you. I know it was a good one for me. And this is just one of 16 examples I use to teach variables. I look at other rolls. How do you play a 5-2? How do you play a 6-5? How do you play a 5-4? I'm not going to spoon feed you that. Set this position up, put in all those, and figure out for yourself how you think you should play those rolls, and at what point, if he has a blot or not, would that change the play? And if you have more spares here or fewer spares here, would that change the play? So look at those other numbers on your own, play with it, and you'll learn better than my just telling you what the answer is. But every time you see an answer, try to think about why and test your hypotheses. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.